Good evening, everybody. Let's put our microphones on and turn our cell phones down, please. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It's 7:05, actually, p.m., Tuesday, July 19th. This is a regularly scheduled board meeting of the Marquette Township Board. So if you join us in the pledge, we'd appreciate it. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Randy, if you do roll call, please.
Treasurer Johnson is absent and excused this evening. Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Truscott.
Here.
Trustee Pompo.
Here.
Trustee Marks.
Present.
Clerk Rattari is here, and Supervisor Durant.
Here.
Staff present is Manager Gerard, Civil Counsel Roger Zappa, Planner Jason McCarthy. Committee members here are Dave Wiegand from Planning, Recreation, and Roads.
Okay, thanks for that. First off, I'll need a motion and support for the consent agenda, which tonight includes approval of the regular and closed session minutes of July 5th, the received committee and other reports from the Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority for July 20th, and their draft board minutes of June 15th, the sheriff's report from June, the fire chief, fire marshal's report from June, the election committee draft minutes of July 5th, bills payable in the amount of $164,370.99. And correspondence, we had two of those, one from the Charter Communications correspondence saying that they're adding another channel, and correspondence from QPAD regarding membership, and their invoice was also included in that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry, I didn't ask you if you wanted to pull anything out of there, but that's always the case, if anybody'd like to pull anything out. Approval of the agenda, we have a couple of things we need to pull and add. Randy?
Okay, we don't have anything new on the closed session this evening, so I will delete that from the agenda. And I will add under old business, because it's old business, 2015 Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund Grant Project Agreement. And actually, this was on the April 19th agenda. We should have acted then, but it got kind of we had some miscommunication, so we are going to act on it this evening. We've already approved the project plan, so it's just a formality so we can get the funds reimbursement rolling.
So that's going to be B3?
That will be,
Add it at the end, unfinished? Or do we have to add it?
it'll be 9C.
C.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended with the
Second.
changes?
Motion and support. Anything else? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you for that. Next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody wishing to address the board, please come up to the podium. You have to really speak into that microphone. We've had some comments on our YouTube that it's not coming through real well, so try to speak as much as you can into that microphone, please.
Is this okay?
That sounds great.
Actually, you
if
can
you
move
want to
it.
pick it up, that's easier for you. We want to make sure you're heard. That's the best thing.
That's usually not a problem. For those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. I'm Steve Adamini. I'm a resident of the township here, live at 27 Oak Hill Drive. I've lived there since 1979. I'm coming here to introduce myself to you and perhaps your television audience, and to let you know that I am seeking election to the County Commission, District 3. District 3 consists of Precinct 2 of the township here, where I live, along with Precinct 1, Precinct 3, 4, and 5 in the city of Marquette. I lived for a portion of that time in the city of Marquette, but since 1979, I've lived in that portion of the district that's here in the township. But I have been a resident continuously of District 3, the district I'm running from, for the past 53 years. And for the past 46 years, I have lived entirely within the bounds of District 3 and have been a homeowner and taxpayer in District 3, as well as a business owner and taxpayer through our office building in District 3. So I have great familiarity with the territory that I seek to represent. I have great familiarity with the people, the problems, conditions, etc. Over the years, I have had the opportunity to serve in many different positions in this county. I served for a time on the mental health board, a couple terms as treasurer and a term as president. I served on the old airport board before they moved to K.I. Sawyer for many years, including service as chairman of that board. I currently sit as a member of the Airport Advisory Committee. I've also served as civil counsel to township government and the county government, and I served a stint as the city attorney for the city of Marquette. So I've had experience at both the township, city, and county level here of local government. And I had the great honor of serving all of you as your state representative in Lansing for 6 years. My service in Lansing convinced me of one thing, that local government works a heck of a lot better than things in Lansing do. I don't have a primary. I'm the only person on the ballot in the August primary seeking this position. So maybe I'm being presumptuous, but I think I will be on the ballot in November, since no one else is on the ballot. I will have opposition, however, in November, because the former city manager of Marquette has filed to run as an independent, and being an independent, he doesn't have to run in the primary. Now, he has stated that he's running as an independent because he doesn't want to engage in petty partisan bickering. Well, I have watched these meetings, I've watched the city commission meetings, I've watched the county board meetings. Very little partisan bickering goes on here in local government. I mean, it's not that everybody initially agrees on every issue, but everybody treats each other with great respect, listens to others' points, and my experience is that most problems, 99.9% of the time, after discussion, careful listening to each other's positions, etc., compromises are made and decisions are reached by consensus. I can understand somebody who spent his entire adult career working in Washington, D.C., may be concerned about a lot of partisan bickering going on, but Marquette County and Marquette City and the Township of Marquette are not used to constant partisan bickering. The reason I'm running is I think you were very well represented by Bruce Hakela, who has served in this position for a good number of years. Bruce, for personal reasons involving some family matters, decided he could not run this year. When I heard he was not running, I thought it was important that someone who would be willing, who's familiar with the problems facing the county, and knowledge of how well that county board is working together. I thought, when I didn't know anyone else was running, that I would run for the position to make sure that that board continued to work as well it is working together. The fact that that county board is working well, I think, is demonstrated by the fact that there are 6 positions, 6 districts. The other 5 districts, the incumbents are all running without opposition. I think that's testimony to the fact that things are being run smoothly. The only contest here is in this open seat. And I'm not going there to shake things up. I hope to go there to represent you. I don't have any big agenda where I've got all these plans and gonna push things down people's throats or anything else. When I've represented you in Lansing, I always appreciated hearing from my constituents. Big issues came up involving governmental questions. I always talked to local officials. When school questions came up, I always talked to all the superintendents. When I say I want to represent you on the county board, I'm serious about that. My phone number's in the phone book. My address is in the phone book. I promise you I will be approachable and I will listen to you. I may not always agree with you, but I certainly will not dismiss you, nor will I refuse to listen to any advice that any citizen wishes to give me. So, with that in mind, if anybody has any suggestions or tells me what issues they would like me to discuss during the campaign, etc., give me a phone call. Maybe we can go out and have a cup of coffee. I'll be glad to listen to you and hear your concerns. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else wishing to address the board?
Good evening. My name is Sarah Conbenzi. I reside at 225 West Michigan Street in Marquette. I'm a city commissioner, but I'm here to actually address you as a candidate for the 109th District State Representative. I think the question I get most for throwing my name in the ring is why? Why are you doing it? Why are you running against an incumbent who has 4 years in, possibly 2 more to go? And for me, it comes down to it's not personal. It's just there's 2 people that want to do the job, and I want to step up because what I see happening in Michigan is that we're headed for a disaster in terms of our economy. I just reached a milestone and turned 40, and a lot of my friends cannot afford to live in Michigan. The good jobs aren't here, the benefits aren't here, and we're simply not keeping and attracting the talent that certainly was here when I was growing up. I think the biggest issue I see, and I would agree with Mr. Adamini, that government runs better with more local and regional control. And there's 2 tax reforms that I think are imperative that the legislature looks at. One is the Headley Amendment. Since its introduction in 1979, our state has realized about $90 billion less in taxes. People were sick of paying high taxes, what they considered high taxes at the time in Michigan. That's what it's cost us up until this point. The other one is Proposal A. And as we've all read in the newspapers, throwing $600 million at the Detroit public school system that has failed isn't really a solution. I think these tax reforms, when the economy is good, were to work great, not so much anymore. And what I keep hearing when I go around district to district, municipality and municipality, is that the local and regional control is what they want back. I think another big issue that our state needs to get right is energy. And I think it's something that we've seen the lobbyists in Lansing control our elected officials too much lately. When we look at the Empire mine closing, a lot of people have said, well, there's just no ore left. It's not true. That mine can be extended, the equipment was bought. Something else was taking place in Minnesota on their Iron Range. In 2014, they realized that energy is the single most important thing to a mining company for revenue, not the labor. What's the reliability and what are the energy costs? Saw the announcement of the Empire being closed in April in Michigan. At the end of May, Minnesota announced opening 2 of Cliff's mines with a 15-year long-term low price per kilowatt hour agreement. What you've also seen in the last week is Cliff's attempting and will probably be successful at buying SR Steel. Okay, SR Steel, they want to create the new pellets that are more efficient and more in desire for the steel industry. The last thing they're doing is they're actually looking to build a steel plant on the range, which has not been done before. So when you look at how their state has operated versus how Michigan has operated, I think there's a lot to learn there. Just to go over the impacts of the Empire closing. Annual payroll loss is estimated at $36 million. Annual services and supply loss, $100 million. Electrical power not bought, $32 million. And a total annual economic impact of $200 million. Everyone knows that the steel industry depends a lot on what's happening in the global economy. And it's all supply and demand. So what happens if we lose the Tilden? Not because there's not ore left, but because Minnesota can offer a better deal to Cliffs. You know, my opponent has supported charter school funding. He supports extending power from downstate versus local regional control. And he voted against increasing unemployment benefits that severely affects our miners being laid off. And there's about 272 of them at this time. The legislature worked 80 days this year in Lansing. 80 days. To me, that leaves over 200 to be working in your district. And so there's a lot I feel you can get done working with not only your local units of government, but with the industry. And I think we need someone that is going to be present more, is willing to put the time in to understand the issues, and that goes out and really works for the people. And that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Anybody, excuse me, anybody else wish to address the board? No, thanks.
I'm just going to do it
There you
this
go.
way. Yeah. I'm going to be the combo breaker. I'm not running for office, but my name is Bryce Burge. I live at 1407 Lincoln in the city of Marquette. I put in a citizen complaint regarding the Walmart parking lot a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to just come on public record and give a little bit of a touch-up and more in-depth and personal experience behind that. But first off, I do want to say thank you to the staff that took care of me the day when I was actually putting in the complaint, as well as the couple phone calls that I've gotten since then that really set the bar high. And I really appreciate that. It's good work there. With the parking lot at Walmart, if somebody doesn't follow the rules exactly, because they're dropping somebody off or they're picking somebody up, it causes a massive traffic jam. Last Wednesday, during the rainstorm, there was a gentleman that had a big SUV right by the McDonald's side of the McDonald's side entrance, and he had backed up to a point where it had stopped traffic so bad that it affected the intersection out by Dairy Queen and Target, because he had stopped there and the flow of traffic from the other side made it impossible to pass. There were buses that were caught up in there. There were commercial vehicles. I drive for Checker Transport, and there were personal vehicles that were being just trapped, and nothing could be done. With the way that Walmart's parking lot is designed, there's no signage that reminds people what to do. There is no marked trans signs. There's no sign for where the Jacobetti Veterans Home bus drops off, which is pretty much the same location. There's no reminders of where to go if you are disabled, which makes it very hard for us as commercial drivers that drop off people that are mentally or physically handicapped under the American Disabilities Act, because you basically have to pick and choose fire lane and possibly create a secondary risk because you're in a spot where an emergency vehicle needs to go. There's also no signage about any of the RV parking that often have trailers and come out to the other side of the parking lot, which makes it difficult because then the other spot where you can go and turn around is all filled up with extra long vehicles that make it super difficult for people to see and have good visibility. And that causes a lot of near-miss accidents and a lot of opportunities to accidentally hit a person, which is why I'm more concerned more than anything. Is because if you've got somebody parked by a door or if you've got a real big RV, then somebody's going to get just hit in that parking lot. And I don't think that that's safe. But there's plenty of room there for signs about which bikes they have on sale that they put outside. And there's plenty of signs about all of their gardening products that are out taking up considerable spaces of their own parking lot. Now I know that that's their land and they have the ability to do what they want, but as it goes further and kind of looking at what the township does, you guys are the host of big box stores in the area, and that's neither good or bad. It's just that that's a role that you guys play, and it's very good for the local economy and stuff like that. And as the area continues to grow, or new businesses are being built, like Meyer, or if there were another mall or something like that that comes up, I think it'd be pretty good to start looking at some of the issues that are happening in the Walmart lot. Also, the Super One lot is not very good either, about how that could affect the rest of future decisions. So that way, either adding another bus stop for MarkTran in the area along with the shopper shuttle route, or making sure that the parking lots are ADA compliant, so that way people can have a safe place to load and unload people as well as their parcels that they pick up. And I think that is an important thing just to continue along with. I appreciate the due diligence that the township and its staff has done so far, and I hope that you guys can continue that and use your clout as the local municipality to make this a better place. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bryce. Appreciate that.
You can leave it on. Leave it on, Bryce.
All right, I'm going to turn it off just so that way I get the clip back on.
Okay. Turn it back on now, though.
Okay, anybody else wish to address the board? Sounds good. How about board member comment? Where should we start? At the end? Or is that the beginning?
Well, just want to remind people, August 6th, we're having a Community Days event again at the Lions Recreation. Can you get that, John? All right. They have ball games starting on a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, champion on Sunday. The All-Timers will be playing around 3 o'clock, and they're going to have games for the kids, bouncy house slides. They're going to have fingerprinting, and also by the state police, and then the parents will get the disc. Face painting, dunk tank, food, beverages, adult beverages. That's up to you. And I think it's going to be a great time. So I just want everyone to mark down August 6th, Saturday. 3 different bands going to be playing. And so it's going to go from 11 o'clock to probably about 10 o'clock at night. So hope to see everyone there. And second thing is be careful with our construction. We seem to be doing pretty good as far as the construction area. Nobody's getting hurt that I know of. So got a couple more months of it. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. Diana, have you got anything? Randy?
I have a few items here. Saturday, July 30th, noon to 2, the township office will be open for any absentee ballots to be given out or received before the August primary. I encourage, especially folks in Precinct 1, which is north of Highway 41, to absentee vote if they meet some conditions here, because my precinct right now is kind of in the middle of a construction zone, so you can get to it, but it's not very easy at times. And you just got to stop in to the township office and get one of these forms here, and you can use this form for the primary and for the presidential if you so desire. And reasons for absentee voting are if you're over 60, if you're going to be absent from the community on the day of the election, if you can't physically be able to get to the polls without the assistance of another, you cannot go to the polls because of your religion, or you work as a election inspector in another precinct on that day, and the last one is if you're in jail. So there's a variety of reasons that you qualify to absentee vote, and I would encourage the folks to do that, especially in Precinct 1. My third item is make sure if you have any question on being registered to vote, make sure you come here or call here and make sure you're registered. Because as I stated last meeting, during the presidential primary, there was a few folks that showed up and they hadn't voted in, I think, 8 years, and they had been deleted from the system. And I told them, unfortunately, you can't vote, and they weren't too happy. But so if you got any doubt, please call the office and check. Planning Commission update from our last meeting, we did talk about design standards again, and you're going to be seeing something shortly coming to the board in regards to that. And we did talk about the ORV ordinance that the Recreation Committee has been working on, and that's probably going to be coming to the board at the next meeting. The planner is going to have a memo to the board about that next meeting. And speaking of the next meeting, because of the election, it's Wednesday, August 3rd instead of Tuesday. So make sure if you're going to attend, it's Wednesday instead of Tuesday because of the election. And my last item is each board member got a copy of the audit. It's been filed. If anyone has any questions on the audit, I can forward you the person that you can ask questions to about it. If the board feels it's necessary to have a question answer session with him, I can set that up. But but really, it's not the board's business to be involved in the audit. It's an independent audit of our financial. Financial position. So I know Ernie, the treasurer, usually likes to have a question answer session with him, and I will make sure that he gets in contact with that person. And if the rest of the board feels the need to do that, I'll make sure it happens in the next few meetings if so desired. And that's all I have.
And though, Randy, this document isn't their allowance to vote. This isn't their ballot. This is something I have to submit, and then they'll get their ballot in the mail.
Yeah, with this document, this is called the application. You fill this out, you bring it back to the township, and then we issue you a ballot from this application. So,
Mail.
and yeah, either in the mail, or if you can get it at the township hall, but you have to show your ID to get it here. So either that or you mail it. So.
And how long is that good? Is that just this election coming up?
Yeah, this application can be used for the primary, and if you check for the presidential, we're keeping it on file for the presidential. So we'll mail you a ballot for the presidential ones when they come out also. And then also we have Lois, my assistant, keeps a permanent absentee list. So if you would like to be added to that, every election we have, she'll send you an application. And so,
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying that. John, have you got anything?
I just want to thank the clerk for reminding people about how easy it is to fill out one of these absentee ballot applications. Just drop it off, and they do all the work, and then you receive either there if you want to wait for it, or in the mail. And one more point that's important in this particular year of elections is that it may not be so bad in the primary election, but it would be nice to get your application in and check off for the fall election too, because we're all aware that there's going to be as many as 12 ballot questions. Now just imagine the lineup that's going to occur in the fall election at the precinct when people are checking through 12 ballot missions. They're going to want to read each one because it's tax to them. So this is a wonderful opportunity to take advantage of what's being offered from the clerk's office and get on the application, get one in for an absentee ballot. This is the best year that I can think of for that to work out. And it works out for the clerk as well, because it helps them when they're counting. But anyone that has paid any attention, even to, in a peripheral sense, to what's going on at the presidential election campaign, there's going to be a tremendous turnout. You add to that 12 ballot questions, you're going to have long lines. So do yourself a favor, everybody that can. And incidentally, you can be out of the community if you're in Ishpeming or Negaunee. So it's easy to get this, even if you're under 65. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Dan, anything? You want to go once
yeah,
more?
only one thing to add to Trustee Mark's statement is when you're in the precinct, the pinch point, I can run a lot of people through, like the app, the electronic poll book. I can get them through there quick. But the pinch point, and this is even in the city, is the voting booths themselves. I only have so many, and when they fill up, you have to wait. And as Trustee Mark say, that the ballot in the fall is going to be very big, and there's no straight ticket voting any longer. So if you want to vote one side, you're going to have to check every one instead of the one that you used to be able to check that would cover all that. So I'm thinking in the fall, it would be better to do that, because like I say, the pinch point is people voting, and I think it's going to cause long lines, you know, and there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. So if Sarah gets elected, maybe she can help the clerks out on this. So.
Thanks, Randy. Manager Gerard, you had your hand up?
Just a quick comment. Clerk Rotari mentioned the audit, but he did not indicate that the audit found no irregularities. So it was a clean audit, and I just wanted to pass that along to the residents and the viewing audience that may be wondering about that. So we complied with all the requirements, and it was what I'll refer to as a clean audit.
Good, thanks for that. I don't have much either to share. The chamber, what I've been calling the chamber supervisor meeting, was canceled last week because of lack of participation. There's too many city and Chocolate Township and Marquette Township people out of the community right now, so we postponed it till September. We did have a DDA, Downtown Development Authority meeting, because if you remember, we've passed, or this board agreed to ask the question of whether or not we're going to add a mill for 1 year, excuse me, through the DDA for corridor improvements. Right now, Roger's working on boundary expansion, and Dulcie and Jason, two staff members, are identifying parcels in the area that will be included. And Parsons Brinkerhoff is working on a proposal shortly. We should have that, I would think, within the next week or two, on their estimate to provide conceptual design, crash analysis, lighting, the under road tunnel that we've been talking about. So that should be coming to us within the next couple weeks, maybe by the next meeting. I'm not real sure. The other thing that will be going out with the water bills, the assessor and I are putting together kind of a, what would you call it? Well, it's like a little worksheet of what, as Trustee Mark said, the ballot is going to contain a lot of millage questions. So your tax dollars are going to be up for grabs in this election. That's one of the things they'll be presenting. And I want to make it as clear as possible to the public. You know, if you choose to vote for any of those items, if you look at your tax bill, the VA's on there, 911 is on there, the library's on there. Our road millage is already established, but there's, 10 or 12 different people vying for your taxes. So I asked the assessor to put together something that would give you a way to determine what it's going to cost on your power bills, your pocketbook. So if you have a $100,000 home, how much is the library going to cost you? How much is 911 going to cost you? How much is the VA going to cost you? I hate to keep picking on those, but those are the ones I can think of.
Iron Ore Heritage.
Yeah, the Heritage Trail, that's a good one. But that way you can put a dollar amount and say, okay, yes, this is important to me. Yes, this is important to me. No, I don't want to fund this. No, I don't want to fund that one. It gives you are the one who has the control, so you need to be using it. So hopefully this little chart will give you an idea. This is probably the first time we've had all of them at one time that I can remember since I've been here. That's a long list for you to try to disseminate. So anyway, that's going to be on in your utility billing at the end of the month. And what I'd also like to do is set up a work session to talk about, and I know Michelle's here, the land contract, or the purchase agreement for the land sale of the property next to our old building. We've been talking about that for a while. We don't have what I would call a workable purchase agreement right now. We had a red line version, and after talking to Roger today, I think, and the manager, that's probably the best way to go. Treasurer Johnson's out of the community for right now, so if everybody wants to get a date to me, possibly next week that we could meet, I'd like to have a work session. We can schedule that within 18 hours, I believe.
Yeah, 18 hours. Probably call it a special meeting instead of a
Okay,
work session.
So we can take action?
So you can take action.
Okay. We'll see if we can get some of the primary individuals who are important to this at the meeting and see how that works out. I don't want to make any commitments to a time right now since Ernie's not here. I'd like to have a full board. Di, if you can get your schedule to me, see what works for you. Yeah, next week, because he'll be back Sunday. So just get your free days to me next week, what works, or better yet, maybe what doesn't work, and we can put it back together that way. Okay? Okay, that's all I had. Pardon me. No forum discussion tonight. So unfinished business. 9A is local roads rehab update. Would that fall to you, Randy?
Well, actually, we have Dave Wiegand from the road committee.
Okay.
Well, we are proceeding with the road projects. It was not. We are proceeding with the road projects as planned. The crush and shape repairs are going this right now, actually, this summer. And next year we'll be finishing those crush and shapes up, and that should be the end of our three-year project. In addition to the road projects that we have going on, there's already been a mention about caution as you travel around. There are a lot of construction projects going on that are impacting traffic. And I think you're seeing some of that being impacted on US 41 corridor with a noticeable expansion. Of course, we have summer travelers coming through as well, but a noticeable expansion of traffic. So be cautious when you're driving. Commerce and Venture are under construction. That is the Safe Routes to School project for the pathways that are being constructed there. Just a lot of work. Ontario Street is still torn up. That's diverting a lot of traffic through Trowbridge, and some of the roads, particularly Fair Avenue on the west side of Ontario, are starting to show some of the wear and tear, and we're taking a look at some of that with the Road Commission to try and do some temporary repairs due to the substantially increased use in those areas. But I don't know if Dave has any comments that he would like to make with regard to the roads project. You know, we have started investigation. Jason and Dave have both started investigation into the programming for our long-term maintenance. So that's a project that's on the drawing board as well.
We are working on the asset management program. We're working with Jason on putting that together. But just a couple things to remember: we haven't really started the work in Trowbridge yet. They're doing Ontario Street, which is not part of the road rehabilitation project, and the work itself in Trowbridge won't start until August the 15th, which conveniently comes after Community Days. And the only other project that's part of the road rehab project is South Vandenboom. So, and that's both South Vandenboom and the Trowbridge Park area is supposed to be done by the middle of October.
Dave, can you give us just a quick, for anybody else that's not real familiar with the asset management and why that's important?
Well, the asset management is to be able to forecast the maintenance that is required on the roads that we're currently rehabilitating. Part of the program was to maintain those for 15 years. And if you can't forecast it out, you can't budget for it. So asset management looks at PASER and looks at the work that was done on it in the past, and it forecasts what we need to spend and actually what segments of road need to receive what treatments in any given year.
So part of our agreement with the public when we did this millage was that we would also maintain the roads. It isn't just the idea of having them fixed right now.
Correct.
So that program from Tech, Michigan Tech, will allow us to figure out what roads need to be worked on.
And if I remember back when we did the initial proposal, the asset management maintenance forecast way back when we did this was, I think, $189,000 a year is what the forecast was, and be interesting to see how much that changes after you update all the PASER ratings and update the work that was done. But it'll be interesting to see if that holds true yet.
Any questions for Dave or Randy? Yes, Pete.
I just got one. Just to remind people that Ontario and Fair, if you're coming on Fair either way, because the barricade is there, you still have to stop at the stop sign. I've seen a couple just going right through there, and probably because they figure the barricade, so they just go right through coming from the. And another thing is for the two businesses that I think is kind of impacted with this construction in Ontario, Easy Stop Store and the Fat Boys Bar and Grill there. You can also get them from the east, or from the west side, from Erickson. You can come down Allen, you can get them, so they're still open. You know, they're taking a pretty big brunt of that, so.
Yeah. Thanks for that reminder, Pete. Randy?
And with that, yeah, Precinct 1, which is St. Christopher's Church, is going to be the same way. You can access it off of Erickson, or what's the other street there? But you can access it from Erickson going east, Moran, yeah. There's two streets that come down, and it's in between both streets. So you do have an access to that. It's just not very convenient, unfortunately, till it's done.
Also.
Anything else with that? All right, we can move to update on expanded capabilities, Fire and Rescue Department.
Well, first of all, the board graciously did authorize up to $7,500 to be expended for what I call warm water rescue operations. Basically, we were equipped for cold water that was not suitable for the emergency that we had earlier this spring. So we have ordered all of that equipment. About most of it has been received, about 80%. We received a lot of the personal flotation with the rope bags. What we have not as yet received are the rescue boards, basically. And once we get those, we'll be fully equipped. So just a quick update for you. All those things were immediately ordered. Some of them were back ordered, but we have received most of that equipment now, and we're capable of responding.
Thank you.
With regard to the planning and zoning, Jason is here. We have picked up a piece of equipment that we're hopeful will bear great profit here very shortly. Those of you that were possibly looking at some of the video of the fireworks and the parades and things such as that that were taken with drones, got Jason and I thinking about what that application could be here for the township with regard to planning, zoning, assessing, fire, a variety of things. And we did acquire one. And Jason is here basically to give you some little background on that and some of the possible uses that we'll be putting it to.
Thanks. Well, during the time I was in Ireland and more recently during the 4th of July holiday, I had the first-hand opportunity to work with a drone operator and to see the capabilities of these machines. A lot of people call them toys, but they're pretty advanced nowadays. So the unit that we picked up is called a Phantom 4. It has 4K video capability, and it is able to capture stills, and you can switch back and forth during the flight, both between video and then stills that are 12 megapixel, but you can capture in a RAW format, which to the photographer means that you can update basically every pixel of an image. But as an overview, the rapidly changing technology of these drones has many uses, both with agriculture, environmental conservation, retail development, 3D surveying, search and rescue, law enforcement, and they provide a superior low-cost alternative to what used to be very expensive aerial flights to have, or to contract out. Sometimes $10,000 to have your community flown, and in, back in the day they used to have medium format. We still have some in the vault. Not very good resolution. As a planner, you're always looking to communicate better and more effectively to your constituents and your planning commission and your board as far as seeing things in a different light. And I think that this tool does that. Perhaps the most powerful use of the technology is, of course, during the public participation process and getting people to see things in a different way than just the two-dimensional that we often look at. In recent years, as a planner, we've always relied on Google Earth, Google Maps. They do provide updated aerial photography, but it's usually once, every 2 or 3 years that you see an update. So a lot of people have asked me about this around the office and stuff, but the best thing to do is just play you a sample video, which I did. I'm still not real proficient with this, but I was able to splice together a demonstration video to show you the capabilities, and I think that you'll find that it's pretty remarkable. So just some quick specs are, things that we can use it for, providing prospective developers a different bird's eye view of sites. If somebody comes in and wants to see 40 acres, I know that when the hospital was looking at the 40 acres up the road, they hired a ladder truck to bring them up. And I don't know what kind of view that they got with that, but this thing could be there in 10 minutes and could provide them with full HD video in a 360-degree view at any elevation under 400 feet. The marketing of our community. I think you'll see that the video that I'll show you has the potential to be on our website, promoting recreation, Safe Routes to School project, things that we've done, things that we're working on, grant opportunities. To be able to use this, and when I explained to Parsons Brinkerhoff, who we have contracted with to provide us with our corridor study, and something that we can utilize to go after grants for kind of trying to help the corridor project along, they were very excited to learn that we had acquired a drone and that we could get specific shots that they wanted or video that they wanted to help tell our story. Of course, recreation planning and promotion, search and rescue efforts, road maintenance planning, which you'll see has pretty clear resolution of crack seals and all the road maintenance that's been done on the segment of road. General master planning and just overall visual communication. So this is kind of you'll see it in flight here in a minute if I can just do a quick demonstration.
Thought you were cutting my grass there for a minute.
Yeah, it has a peculiar sound. It kind of, from a distance, it sounds like a large mosquito. But once it's up in the air, it's really, I mean, I did some video over the weekend, and you know, people were driving by, they had no idea it was there. So it's nice that it's, you know, fairly inconspicuous. You know, I don't want to be going over properties with property maintenance issues or anything like that. I don't think that's appropriate. But for planning and grant applications and promotion of the community and our projects, I think it's very appropriate. And along with that, I will, if Randy, go to the video, we'll show you the short video that we took, or that I took. Of course, there's no sound, but you could add sound, you could add music, you could add, you know, any kind of commentary that you want. Hopefully it won't be too. Computer is going to get pixelated a little bit. Can you just make it smaller?
Yeah, while this is going, there was just recently the Planning Commission had to round everybody up to go on a tour of the roads by bus. And what you saw was a ground level. So utilizing something like this, the Planning Commission didn't have to go and do that. They could have identified the segments of road they wanted to see, could have done this in an hour, maybe, and brought it back for the Planning Commission to see. And, you know, as Jason said, you can get right down to, it's limited to 400 feet. That's the maximum altitude that it can go under FAA rules, Federal Aviation Administration. Reason for that is people wonder why 400 feet, because the floor of general aviation is 500 feet. You can't be lower than 500 feet over a populated area with an aircraft. So there's a 100-foot separation between drones and aircraft.
Just maybe stop it just for a minute, let it catch up. So exporting is also, you know, what file format to export. I'm still working through that, but trust me, on my computer, this is razor sharp and very, very effective. But it's 180.
Yeah, I think the reason why it's pixelating is because they're so detailed. It's sending so much information. See, we have wireless screens here, and sending all that information over the wireless screens. So that's why it's a little pixelated. But on a regular computer, it'd be HD quality. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this is Safe Routes to School heading south from Commerce, Lions Field. You know, these are, a lot of planning departments are using these. I did do, you know, some extensive research on, you know, justifying the cost, first of all, but, you know, how are they using them? And you know, we felt that it was a good purchase and it'll probably pay itself off. This is actually Ontario Street yesterday. And this is the new construction that's going on. So you can see the curb and gutter. You can see storm water inlets. You know, the way that the road is changed, and it will change. The fire department overview, the sun had gotten on the other side. Otherwise, in the morning, that would be a spectacular shot. And I do plan on recapturing that as far as stills go, too. Again, very rudimentary. There's a lot more you can do, but that's the gist of you know, the capabilities, and we hope to utilize it moving forward. And any ideas or suggestions that you have for things that you want to see, I'd be more than happy to entertain those and try to get those done.
Now, these have about a 3.5 to 4 mile range on them, so, you know, an operator doesn't have to be right there. As a, for instance, if we're looking at damage to a shoreline or something like that from weather or from a flood that you can't easily get to by vehicle, you can easily do this. You can see on the screen where it is, what it's doing, what it's seeing, manipulate it in any number of ways. You know, from a search and rescue standpoint, aerial is how you find people that are submerged. That's how you find them. And, you know, and this is a much more effective way to do that, much more rapid than getting the Coast Guard helicopter from Traverse City. You know, so it has a number of applications, and we felt that, Jason and I in discussion felt that this was a piece of equipment that could benefit not only planning and zoning and public works, but generally for just about anything that the board wants or the planning commission wants to investigate or to look at without having to coordinate everybody's schedules and find a time and a place and a day that they could all get together to go see something. In a matter of very short time, get a very detailed video, very high resolution video that they can look at and see and determine just exactly what it is that they need to do, want to do, or pinpoint what it is that they want to see. So,
Just to finalize, this is the interface that you see it on any, specific tablet. And this is essentially what you see on the screen. So, like Randy said, you can fly this sitting in your car. Not that I would do that. At this point in my flying career, I prefer to be looking at it as well. But you can fly it remotely, and it does have a 3.5-mile range.
since Treasurer Johnson isn't here, I'll ask the question for him. Where's the money coming from for
Going
this?
to.
It was in Jason's budget already for equipment. It's totally in place, operating under $2,000. So,
John?
I think it's a wise investment, and I guess the thought that came to mind was emergency applications with both the sheriff and the state police might be wise to let them know we have the availability and the capability.
but just as an example of a very recent event that luckily turned out to be not really threatening anybody's physical capacity, is the fire that we had right over here. They had to get the DNR aircraft from Escanaba to come and circle that fire on South Vanderboom. We could have done that from here to let our fire department know where the fire was going, where it was heading, the brush fire. They were having a hard time containing that and keeping up with it. So it has a number of applications, and we felt that it was a wise investment for the future.
So how limited are we? Are there other people in the community that, fire people or police that would know how to work this if you're not available to do it?
I could certainly teach them how.
Well, I was just thinking if something came up and you weren't around. I don't know, do we have more of these anywhere that you know of in the county? Do the other?
I'm not familiar with any municipalities that are utilizing them right now, but I suspect that more will.
There are private businesses that are
Okay.
operating and offering them now, but you're paying them an hourly rate to do
Right.
it. So yeah, it is getting to be more of a common event. You probably didn't even notice them during the fireworks, but there were several of them buzzing around over the fireworks, and you can see them. They're illuminated. There's a light, usually a strobe light on them or a red flashing light. We think that there's a lot that we can apply this to. And to answer your question, just about anybody, it's pretty easy to operate.
Okay. Pete?
Is there any liability on our part going over residential areas or anything like that?
No.
I don't know the answer to that.
Nope, as long as you don't break that 400-foot ceiling. It's there will be a body of law that evolves out of this, because you do have people that are improperly using them now, for their neighbors and others. So you have that with anything, but regulations are being formulated. The FAA in particular is formulating a number of regulations in licensing requirements for drone operators. So all of those are coming. It's a very rapidly growing body of law.
I'm thinking about our assessors. If they want to go out, sometimes they can't go out.
Well, you do. I mean, we do run into those situations, and we had them where property owners do not allow access onto their property. They do not control the air over their property. So it is, and there is one video that's out there that what really started Jason and I talking about this, and I'm not even sure who did it, but if I believe it's on the recreation group, Pat Black's group. Pat Black used to be with the CVB. I think it might be on their website. Somebody had a drone on top of Sugarloaf, and they left Sugarloaf going towards Marquette, and you could see all the residences that were down along there, and they did that video is up there. So that's what the kind of capability that this would give us.
Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Anything
Thank you.
else?
Thank you for continuing to be forward-thinking and supporting new technology. And if you have any requests or need anything specifically from me, let me know.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, next up is the 2015 Michigan National Natural Resources Trust Fund Agreement from April 19th's agenda that Kind of slipped through the cracks.
This is kind of a rehash for you. Basically, this package was in your packet for the April 19th meeting, and it was under a package that was an update to the MNRTF that Mike Springer was doing. Within that packet was a communication from Planner Zoning Administrator McCarthy with a resolution that needed to be adopted. You approved the funding, but we never acted on the resolution, and we just didn't discover that until today. Well, yesterday, actually. Jason had received a message, an email from the MNRTF saying that there was one document that had not been yet submitted or uploaded, and asked about it, and that got us to go back looking, and we checked the minutes of the May 4th meeting, and the minutes do reflect that the update occurred, but there's no reference to the resolution that was requested in the packet. So that is before you again this evening for reconsideration.
Randy.
Motion to adopt the required DNR development project agreement.
Support.
Anything else you want to add? Clerk?
No, actually, like I said, we've approved this, I think it was last year, and it's just a formality of getting it submitted. And boy, there's a lot of requirements, as I can see, all these forms and things, so it's easy why this slipped through the crack, but.
And again, Treasurer Johnson's not here, but this is part of the $36,000 that was forwarded from the Solid Waste Fund.
Thanks for that update.
So hopefully we get this done. I'll get this done this evening, get it submitted tomorrow, and hopefully we'll move forward with it.
Get our money. Okay, we need a roll call vote.
Trustee Marks?
Yes.
Clerk Rattari is yes. Trustee LaRue?
Yes.
Trustee Truscott?
Yes.
Trustee Pompo?
Yes.
And Supervisor Durant.
Yes.
That motion carries 6-0 and 1 absent.
Okay. The only thing left is new business managers report.
Very briefly, really, unless board members have any questions, we did talk about Safe Routes to School already. That project is ongoing. That's what's happening on Commerce and Venture Drive. That will be the pathway for the schools. We will be required to maintain those in the wintertime, so we'll be working with our building and ground staff. In fact, we had a discussion following the Recreation Committee meeting this afternoon about how that might be accomplished. So you may be seeing something about that in the 2017 budget proposal, but we will be required to maintain those walkways as well. Corridor study is in process. Supervisor Durant had mentioned that. We did complete the discussions with Parsons Brinkerhoff on their proposal. We have signed that proposal, and they have started the project, and it's about a 45-day turnaround time on that, so we expect some preliminary reports from them relatively quickly here. And they will be reporting back to the DDA, and then we will be bringing that to the board from the DDA. The only other comment that I would make is Trustee LaRue and I have already mentioned, be very cautious traveling around the township in particular. There's a lot of road construction going on. There's a lot of frustration. The roads in Trowbridge are not designed for the volume of traffic that they're currently holding temporarily. So be cautious, be conscious of your speed. All of the roads in Trowbridge are 25-mile-an-hour de facto residential streets. So the Sheriff's Department will be patrolling. We are going to enhance that patrol, and they will be writing tickets. So honor those speed limits. Also watch for pedestrians, because there's a lot of pedestrian traffic because of the construction that would otherwise be using Ontario or some of the other streets that are currently under construction. So a lot of difficulty coming up. We do have the Catch the Vision coming up on August 6th. We would certainly ask folks that are coming to that to enter Lions Field off of Fair Avenue or off of the north portion of Wright Street. I'm sorry, of Ontario from Wright Street. To avoid some of that construction area. Also, we will be having students starting to return from Northern here pretty quick, so that will add another element of traffic into US 41 and into our local roads. So be cautious. And I'll just pass along a comment that my wife made to me earlier this evening when she dropped me back here. She said, man, if you really want some good roads, come to Marquette Township. So she thanks us for less damage to her vehicle. That's all I had.
Any questions for the manager?
What's that date now?
August the 6th, Saturday.
All right. Any other public comment? Anybody wishing to address? Yes, Michelle, come on up.
Michelle Thomas, 203 East Arch in the city of Marquette, representing the Viridia Group, 857 West Washington, Suite 301, the city of Marquette. Bob Mahaney is out of town, and he asked me to attend tonight to speak to you. For some reason, we were under the impression that the purchase and sale agreement would be discussed tonight, and we wanted to make sure that we had somebody here in case you had questions, and that would be me. It's been about 3 weeks since we presented you with a bona fide offer to purchase your property. Included with that offer was the guarantee that we would provide public access to the lot in front. We are still standing by that offer. But I must tell you that in the world of commercial real estate, you have capital and you have opportunities to use that capital, and we need an answer. Because we do have other opportunities for our capital. So it's my hope that the work session that you have, hopefully next week, will produce a counteroffer that we can read and decide whether or not this deal may go forward. I appreciate all of your time. I understand that it's a volunteer board and it's difficult to get together, but we do have deadlines as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to address the board? Okay, board member comments? Anything? Dan? No, John?
I think I listened to the comment that was just made, and all I can say is that government frequently looks like and acts like osmosis. I mean, but I can assure you that a good deal of thought and effort has been put into the issue before us, and I'm sure that a conclusion is nearer. That's all.
Thanks, John. Randy, anything?
Only thing, again, remind everyone on Saturday, July 30th, noon to 2 here at the Township Hall. If you'd like to come and get an absentee ballot or bring one in, someone will be here. And in regards to the microphone over at the podium for public comment, it's usually pretty good. If you have problems at home, just crank your volume up a little bit and you'll be fine. There's not much I can do unless I want to put a wired microphone there, and I really don't want to spend that money for that. So, but on TV, it's pretty good. Just crank it up a little bit and then lower it back down, and you'll be fine.
Thank you. Di, anything? Pete, anything else?
I just want to say about our Lions Recreation area and the Schwimmen Park area. The township has a lot of money invested in these areas. And if you're going by, just keep your eyes open. If you see something, please call. So we want to keep that safe for the kids, and we want to keep it, so it's not busted and stuff like that. So we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Good, thanks. Thanks for coming, Michelle. We didn't really know what we were doing with this yet. You got to remember, we only meet every 2 weeks, so we're kind of limited as to how we can conduct business unless we call a work session or a special meeting. We had tried to get a Word document that the attorney could work from. He did his red lines. We did pass that out to everybody. I contacted everybody to see independently to see if there was any other issues, and I just got their comments back. We got it to Roger yesterday, and now that he has the Word document, that's why I thought by next week we should be able to put something together for a meeting. Just so everybody else knows too. So we'll try to do that. If, in the next day or so, get those dates to me, and we can get this taken care of, because we're just as anxious. Thanks for your patience. If there's nothing else, I need one more motion.
Move to adjourn.
Motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned at 8:15. Thank you.